Good afternoon. Welcome to a 1 o'clock news update. My name is Mark Masai. The search for aid worker Sylvia Romano has entered its second month, with government agencies urging Tana Delta residents to volunteer information on her whereabouts. Inspector General of Police Joseph Boynet confirmed that some arrests have been made, but no substantial information has been received.
23-year-old Sylvia Romano, an Italian national, was abducted on the night of November 20th, 2018 by gunmen in Chakama, Kilifi County. In the same month, a multi-agency security team of police and army units sealed off Boni Forest and areas bordering Lamu, Garissa and Tana River counties in search of the bandits. However, with just over a month into the search, Sylvia's whereabouts still remain unknown.
We have made some arrests, but the effort to look for that lady is still ongoing. We have not given up and will not give up until we find her.
An appeal has been made to residents in Tana Delta.
Ningeomba mtu yoyote ambaye kuna habari, tafadhali tujulishe, tafadhali muwe na uhusiano mwema na askari. Kwa hivi sasa najua hakuna askari yoyote atakuja kusema huyu ndiye ameniambia.
Na yule amechukua msichana, kama shida ni pesa, polepole akuja, mimi nitamlipa hiyo pesa. Sawa sawa.
All night activities in the area have since been banned for police to monitor the movements of the suspected abductors.
Wale wanaendesha pikipiki usiku, ifika usiku hatutaki kusikia movements za pikipiki. Kwa magari yote sasa kwa roadblock ya Minjida ikifika saa 12 kuanzia saa 1 hakuna magari kupita kwa roadblock. Kama ni malori zitadala hapo.
Malindi, NTV.
The Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, KUPPET, wants the government to launch a probe on the publication and sale of textbooks set to be used in teaching the new curriculum. Laikipia KUPPET Branch Secretary Ndongo Wangenya says there is need for an audit on the quality of textbooks being supplied by the Ministry of Education. Wangenya, who is also the spokesperson of Mount Kenya Teachers Forum, has called on the government not to withhold money meant for the textbooks, adding that teachers were being forced to purchase some of the books with their own funds.
I want to support categorically that the scandal of textbook is more than 10 billion. It's an amount that is heading to over 13 billion Kenya shillings. We want the government to do a thorough audit of the quality of the textbooks they are giving, both in material and in the content.
Transport along the busy Committee Road was paralyzed for most of the Thursday as Kahawa West residents blocked the road protesting over its poor condition. The residents claim to have been abandoned by their Member of County Assembly and Member of Parliament.
The irate Kahawa West residents lit bonfires and barricaded the road after leaders ignored their plea to address the poor condition of the road. They accused their Member of the County Assembly for not doing enough in the transport sector in the area.
Demonstrating mtoto hapa hivi ndio watu wa West tumechoka kukaliwa. Juu msee tumemwambia poa sana atundie barabara, anaona MCA wetu tumemcheka tune atundi barabara, anafungia watu maji. Sasa hivi kuna change, tulimchagua tufanyie kazi lakini yeye hakuna tunatufanyia. Kwa nini?
Demonstration was because we tried talking to him and he didn't give us an ear nor a shoulder to lean on. Na akatuambia if we want we can demonstrate. So this is what we did. We were demonstrating for our own freedom and for our own development.
Similarly, the matatu drivers raised their concern over the deplorable roads, saying most of their vehicles have undergone serious damage, which has caused them dearly.
Na tumelia magari na katika maspring zinafanya nini hawasikii kilio chetu. Ndio siku ya leo tumeona tuome labda watasikia.
Many residents also complained about the use of live bullets and tear gas by the police to disperse them.
Tulikuwa tumeanza demonstration na amani sana, but deputy wake alikuja na majamaa wake wakaanza kuturushia tear gas. Live bullets pia kuna dema nazunguka around akona kadhaa. There are over 8 live bullets zimerushwa.
The residents have called on the government to intervene and help solve their problem.
Elsewhere, with day-to-day concerns, water vendors in Kajiado County are protesting against a new directive by the county government to have all salty water vendors desalinate their water before selling to residents. The traders say it is an expensive affair. The county government recently issued a 2-month notice to borehole owners, instructing them to install desalination machines or wind up their business by the end of February. With the cost of a desalination machine estimated to range from 200,000 shillings to 800,000 shillings, the water vendors protested the move, saying that it would push them out of business. Protests by the vendors fell on deaf ears as Kajiado Governor Joseph Lenku said that the salty water is detrimental to consumers' health and retaliated that the deadline is still on.
Nataka kusisitiza kwa wale wanaouza maji kwamba deadline yetu ya mwezi ya pili ya kutoa maji ya chumvi katika Kitengela, na hiyo vita inaenda kaunti yote. Lazima tuungane tuhakishe kwamba watu wetu wanapata maji safi.
Mtungi moja tunauza na 15 bob. Bado customer inakuwa ni shida kununua hiyo maji. Anataka umuuzie mpaka shilingi 10. Naona hilo chambo ya kusafisha maji ikuwe fresh ndio tuusiwe na bei kali, mimi naona hiyo ni kisungumkuti.
Kama mtungi mmoja wa maji fresh ni shilingi 40, yenye watu wengi wakazi wa Kitengela ni maslahi zipata. So utapata maji ya chumvi ni kama shilingi 5, ikizidi sana wakati yenye ina chumvi mingi na kuanga shilingi 10. So kila mtu anaweza kuafford na pia biashara zinaendelea. Na hizo balls zikifungwa after those 2 months ni kama tutapata tatizo kubwa sana.
Residents of Ngungo village in Mavuria location, Embu County, are seeking the intervention of Lands Cabinet Secretary Farida Karune and Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i in resolving a land dispute that has had one family in the area blocking a public road. They say that the situation has affected movement, more so for people living with disabilities.
It is a tug of war that has been ongoing since 2016 and whose resolution seems quite difficult to achieve.
Katikati kuna barabara ya serikali. So ya serikali ndio wamekuja wakafuku. Sasa natujui sasa tutapitia wapi? Sababu hiyo ndio njia pekee. Hakuna njia nyingine.
The blocked road is well articulated on the national mapping of the road networks, but this has not in any way influenced the family to yield their hold on the strip of land that has made the route too narrow for motorists.
Na waaminio wakikuja kanisa hawana njia. Wakikuja wanapitia huko na wanaomba njia ya kwenda kwa kanisa.
Nitaapika sana sababu nilikuwa nataka kwenda Keretile. Kuja kutokea nikakuta njia ishafungwa. Sasa ikanipindi nitumie njia mrefu sana, na ile njia yenye nilikuja kutumia ilinipindi. Sasa hata yule mtu wa taksi aanze kuniongezea pesa zingine juu sababu anasema mambo ya mafuta imepanda.
The residents now want the occupants of higher relevant offices to intervene as many of their juniors have seemingly failed to resolve the stalemate.
Hata sababu walikuja kwa serikali wakapima hii njia, na hakuna mtu sasa alikuja kutusaidia mambo ya hii njia. Sasa tujui nini kinaendelea huko mbele kwa wakubwa. Hiyo ndio shida yetu, sababu tukienda kwa wakubwa tunaletwa tu, tunakaa tu, hatuoni njia ikifunguliwa.
Charity Mwangi, NTV.
Residents of Misesi area in Kisii County are living in fear following what they term as constant police harassment after the burning down of 4 houses belonging to officials of a women's group. One man is reportedly missing after police officers raided the village in search for suspected arsonists. The officials of the women financial group are accused of swindling members of the group.
Up in smokes and down to ashes. The aftermath of 4 houses burnt down in Misesi village in Kisii County. The houses are owned by officials of a financial group. Residents say that police officers have turned their suspicion on the villagers, more so members of the financial group. For the past 3 days, area residents have allegedly been spending nights in the bushes away from their homes in fear of being arrested by police officers in connection with the arson attack, which has rendered 4 families homeless.
Tunalala nje kwa ajili ya hizo pesa ni 8,000, na chenye kilisababisha hizi nyumba kuchomwa hivi ni watu wetu walichukuliwa kutoka hapa, ndiposa kijiji mzima wakakuja wakachoma hizo nyumba. Kuna wengine wameshikwa wako innocent na wajini nini ilikuwa inaendelea. Tafadhali tunalia kwenu, mtusaidie, tuko na shida.
Guta OCPD Joseph Ireri confirmed the incident, saying that 3 people have been arrested and have been charged before the Ogembo courts for arson, and that more arrests will be made as the police continue with investigations.
I would request members of public also to be careful when organizing themselves in those groups. Let them form a circle and be advised by we have a county youth or welfare officer in our district.
A man is alleged to be missing after a confrontation with the women's group secretary over missing savings.
Sai bwanangu hayuko tena, sijui mahali penye yako. Amesima simu kila laini. Hayuko nyumbani. Sasa niko na watoto. Nimeshindwa hata kukaa nyumbani. Watu wenye wa hii kijiji wanasababishwa wakati wa usiku. Hawarali nyumbani. Hata mimi ndio wa kwanza sirali nyumbani, ndio maana wananiambia huyo bwanako ndio tutakuja kusika. Tukipata hakuna. Huyo secretary ndiye anaongea hivyo.
It is believed that the alleged misconduct of the officials of the women group enraged members of the public, which led to the descent on their homes, as well as those of 2 other members who were said to have sided with them. The 4 affected officials of the women group could not be reached for comment, as they're said to have sought refuge away from the area in order to guarantee the safety of their families. Eunice Omolo, NTV.
Leaders from Kuria region and human rights activists have taken the Migori County Government and County Assembly to court. The petitioners are complaining that 516 million shillings set for upgrading towns has not been channeled to key towns that they say ought to benefit from the program. The legal team argues that no town in Kuria region was considered in the master plan. Migori, Awendo and Rongo are the 3 towns set to benefit from the project. The defendant argued that the move will stir conflict among communities in the area. The judge has directed all parties mentioned to be served with copies of the petition within 7 days to enable the case to continue.
This is a process that we should embrace. If some donor come today and says, I want to do a billion project in Kuria, I should be happy as the speaker of this county assembly. I should not tell them, you should not do it in Kuria, go and do it in North Kademo anyway.
Government has identified the big 4 agenda, and you know them. Infrastructure and housing is key. In fact, it is even leading among the 4. The moment funds have now reached these counties, like as the time we are talking now, the counties have received funds for the first phase. If you gag this project in this particular county, what are you sending? What message are you sending across the globe?
1,500 students of Oserian Primary School, a public school, will now benefit from the Flower Farmers Feeding Program that has kicked off in Naivasha. The Oserian Administration Director, Mary Kinyua, says the school feeding program is part of the company's contribution to the success of the government's Big 4 agenda, food security and education, and by keeping well-fed children in school, it will enable them to concentrate on education. Some of the pupils go to school without having had breakfast, and some don't have lunch, which has affected their performance. The program also aims at encouraging enrollment in school. A cup of nutritious uji for breakfast and a plate of food for lunch is a big relief to both students and parents who will no longer need to struggle for their meals. Italian business magnate Flavio Briatore, who is fond of spending holidays in Malindi, is now calling on improvement in infrastructure and service delivery to enable the coastal town attract more investors. The investor says laxity by county and the national governments to position the town as a suitable investment destination is dragging its progress. Alex Wangi has more.
Malindi is a famed tourist destination among Italians. But to what extent is the town meeting its potential for investment in the hospitality industry?
I come from Mombasa, but yes, Mombasa has its own love. But Malindi, as an exotic destination, is number 1.
The town is faulty. The road is one big hole. And what project you want to do when the local people not take care of their own house? This is not the investor need to teach you to keep it clean the town, no?
Part of the challenge that Malindi faces is the issue of connectivity.
It's no flight from Nairobi to Malindi. We're missing completely the local tourism. because the flight is not adequate. I mean, there's no flight from Italy to Kenya.
Point of attention.
We need to fix Malindi Airport so that Malindi Airport can begin to receive the kind of Dreamliners that can land in Nairobi and can land in Mombasa.
But for Malindi Airport, I want to say here, if there's somebody who is following Malindi Airport is myself. I have an interest because it's a big market, the Italian market is a big tourist destination and we need to support it. Without accessibility, Malindi cannot grow.
We want to open Malindi International. Tell me something, if you have a Malindi International Airport and you have the flight from Italy or from Germany with 200 or 300 people, where you put these people? It's not hotel. All the hotel is in bankruptcy. The hotel is closed.
For Malindi to prosper, an integrated strategy which also encompasses connectivity to other destinations, coupled with improvements in the well-being and maintenance of the town's amenities, are essential. Alex Mwangi, NTV.
You've probably seen a video doing rounds on social media of a young girl, schoolgirl, who looks inebriated. The National Agency for the Campaign Against Drug Abuse, NACADA, is investigating the circumstances that led to the discovery of a student in one of the bus termini in a drunken state. The agency seeks to determine where the student acquired the alcohol from, as debate rages on over the problem of alcohol use and abuse, especially among the youth. Statistics show that over 70% of students indulge in alcoholic beverages. More youth are making strides to overcome crime and drug abuse in Mombasa as they are going through rehabilitation. The executive director of Reach Out Center Trust, Taib Abdirahman, says the number of drug addicts has reduced since the launch Pamba Roho initiative. The initiative has seen youth from different parts of Mombasa come together to play football and interact freely. Taib says teenagers between the age of 12 to 15 are still battling with drug abuse, especially heroin. He urged leaders to work together to ensure the youth in the community shun shoddy practices and empower them so that they can stay away from crime.
Kazi yetu kubwa ni kuweza kuwafikia wale watumizi wa madawa kulevya na jamii kwa jumla, kuweza kuwapatia njia mbadala na kuangalia matatizo ya kijamii katika hali ya kuweza kujiendeleza.
Everyone is looking forward to the results from the just held elections of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Well, a Catholic church there says it knows who has won Sunday's presidential election and is demanding that the Electoral Commission publish accurate results. The appeal from the National Episcopal Conference of Congo came hours after the Election Commission said logistical problems may force it to postpone the publication of provisional results slated for January 6th.
The appeal from the National Episcopal Conference of Congo, SENCO, to release accurate results came hours after the Election Commission said logistical problems may force it to postpone publication of provisional results from Sunday's ballot. The church, one of Congo's most trusted institutions and representing about 40% of its 80 million population, based its findings on tallies from more than 40,000 observers it deployed for the December 30th poll meant to mark the country's first democratic transfer of power. The church's bishops' conference, however, did not say which candidate had won and called on the Election Commission to publish the election results in keeping with truth and justice.
Consider only the results of manual counting that had been published and displayed in front of polling and counting offices. Secondly, make sure that the consistency of checks at the local level of counting centers are carried out in the presence of observers and witnesses. Thirdly, publish the results of every polling stations.
Election observers say if the churches count points to victory for an opposition candidate, it could set up a standoff with outgoing President Joseph Kabila's ruling coalition, which has insisted its man is poised to win. On its part, the Independent National Election Commission says preliminary results from Democratic Republic of Congo's presidential election may not be released on January 6th as expected due to the low number of voting tally sheets received, adding that vote counting centers had received just 20% of tally sheets, hinting that this may hinder their ability to deliver the final results on Sunday.
Will the result be postponed? We are not there yet. We are working very hard to announce the result as soon as possible, and if at all possible, in conformity with the calendar.
The vote, which has been repeatedly delayed since 2016, is meant to choose a successor to incumbent Joseph Kabila, who is due to step down this month after 18 years in power.
Representatives from the world's two largest economies will meet next week in a bid to defuse the tension that has built up in recent months over trade tariffs. A U.S. delegation will visit China to iron out the differences between the two countries. The trade wars between the U.S. and China have so far had an adverse impact on the global economy. Stocks in the U.S., for instance, have had a dismal performance in the first week of the year. On December 1st, 2018, the heads of state from the two nations agreed to a deal that will see both nations cease adjusting tariffs for each other's goods for at least 90 days. The Chinese economy, on its part, has not been performing as robustly as before, even as the country seeks new partnerships with developing states. Back home to something you can help us out with. Boni Oreko, a 13-year-old boy, has been reported missing in Nairobi. Boni was last seen at around 6 p.m. last evening while walking from Afya Center towards Ambassador bus stage with his mother and two siblings. They were on their way from Migori to Thika via Nairobi. Boni was wearing black trousers, a checked grey shirt and a black jacket with red stripes on the wrist. He understands and speaks Kiswahili and attends Kenyatta Primary School in Thika. The family has reported the matter to the Central Police Station, and if you have any information on Boni's whereabouts, please contact the family through the number 0723675701. That is Jane Matundwa, Boni's mother, or 0713765019. That is Vincent Oreko, his father, or 0737768386. That is Alex Nyabuto, Boni's cousin, or contact your nearest police station. And it's now time for sports with Aida Waringa.
Niaje.
Now, legendary Kenyan footballer Dennis Oliech earlier this week signed a 2-year deal with Kenyan Premier League giants Gor Mahia. Kogalo, who play KPL leaders Mathare United on Sunday, are currently training at Camp Toyoyo grounds, where we join Warote Kiru with the latest. Warote, if you can hear me, how's it looking on that end?
Very good afternoon to you, Aida. It is bright and sunshiny here at the Camp Toyoyo grounds. Nairobi has been raining, but now the sun is coming out, and that is an apt metaphor for Kogalo. They've not had the most brilliant of starts to the season, but right now they are actually have been enjoying themselves in this training session, and the reason for that is, if my camera lady can just pan, is the man that you're seeing right now on your screen, Dennis the Menace Oliech. Dennis Oliech has finally signed with Gor Mahia. That happened on Wednesday, and right now he's attending his first training session officially as a Gor Mahia player. I've just had a chat with Gor Mahia coach Oktai, and he tells me that since he's not had playing time for 1.5 years, for 1.5 seasons, he will give him a bit of time to just gel in with the team, get into match fitness so that he's not injured. But soon, maybe on Sunday against Matare, which incidentally is the last club that Dennis Oliech played for in this country, and that's a whole 10 years ago, or perhaps against Posta Rangers in Kisumu, Dala, and everyone is talking about that homecoming for Dennis Oliech on Wednesday against Posta Rangers on January the 9th. But for the coach, he says he needs to take care of his players. It will be easing Dennis Oliech back into the team, and I've asked him about why he signed him, and he says someone with European experience, someone who's a legend in the country, he can only be a brilliant addition to his team, someone who can guide the young players in the team, someone who can motivate the team to play, and also most importantly, someone who can make the fans believe once again in the Gor Mahia brand. And that is actually one of the things we've seen. A lot of people out here in Camp Toyoyo just coming out to watch Dennis the Menace Oliech as he trains for the first time as Gor Mahia player. And we'll be having a chat with Kajole, as is popularly known, just to find out how he feels now that he's officially a Gor Mahia player. But for now, back to you, Aida, for the rest of our sporting updates.
Thanks for that, Warote. Indeed, great to see Kajole back on the pitch. Dennis the Menace Oliech, that being Gor Mahia, training currently at Camp Toyoyo grounds. Don't forget, it's the big one on Sunday where they will take on current league leaders Mathare United. Well, let's move on. Manchester City beat Liverpool 2-1 in a group in Premier League.
Aida, you and I will be back at 9 o'clock with the 9 o'clock bulletin, of course, and 7 o'clock is our next news bulletin in Swahili. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. My name is Mark Masai. Good afternoon.